thinking over this weekend, and this is bringing it to fruition. In spite of what's going on, it's an opportunity, and we are really blessed in spite of what's going on. I couldn't help but to think of some cities, some municipalities probably, and I may be wrong, probably am wrong, probably don't have the capacity to do what we're able to do here with this community in this city. So for that, we're thankful that we are in a position where we can continue to conduct business for our communities, for the people, and I'm grateful that we have this technology. Probably some cities, municipalities probably doesn't. So we do have a lot to be thankful for. And with that, I wanted to say that before calling the meeting to order. As we all know, this is the work session. This is the first time we've experienced this. It may seem a little awkward, may seem a little uncomfortable. It certainly seems kind of funny seeing everyone and we're not being able to touch and feel and to joke with each other, but it has its time and place, and this is the time and place for that. So this meeting is called to order. As we all know, there's no action ever taken. And at this time, I would like to call on Councilman Gordy to lead us with the invocation. Councilman Gordy, you there?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Everyone can hear? Yes.
All right, let's pray. Dear Lord, we just thank you for this day. And Father, we just thank you for your grace and your mercy every single day. We thank you for your love. We thank you for your strength. Father, I just thank you for every single person here at this meeting, Lord, our city leaders, our elected officials, our department heads, every city employee we have, Lord. And I just pray for your wedge of protection over every single one of us as we go through this time of uncertainty, Lord. The one thing we do know, more certain than anything, Lord, is that you're in control. Father, I just pray that you help us to remember that, Lord. I just pray that you help us to just guide us with a servant's heart in everything that we do as we lead this city through this time, Father, knowing that as long as we follow your will, Lord, that we're going to be doing what's right for the people, for ourselves, but most importantly for you, God. And I just pray all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Councilman Gordon. We certainly need prayer now more than anything. So that's, we really appreciate that. Also, Councilman Gordy, you'll be doing the invocation in the morning due to the fact that the pastor will not be able to join us through this technology. So with that said, we have no one wanting to request the council. At this time, I'd like to call on Angel Moore for the Planning Commission. Mrs. Moore.
Yes, sir. We did not have a quorum for this planning commission, so we did not have a meeting. We do plan to have a meeting next week, and hopefully we will have a quorum. We're trying to get in touch with the planning commission members now to see how they feel about coming to the meeting or either possibly doing something like this with them, because we do have a public hearing and an approval of a preliminary plat on Somerville Road that we do need to get taken care of through planning commission.
Is that the one on Somerville Heights?
Yes, sir. That's Somerville Highlands subdivision off of Somerville Road, just north of Lee Road 314.
Okay, good. Now, is that from some of the activities when we're running the water through there? Mr. Hunter, do you know, Angel, Steve, with us? Is that because of that we'll have that opportunity with that subdivision?
Yes, talking about Somerville Road?
Yes.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, so it is.
It's in our utility jurisdiction. They are not contiguous with the city, so there won't be annexing in, and it would be out on a Lee County road, but it is in our utility jurisdiction.
Yeah. Okay, with some of the benefits we'll reap. Okay, any other question, council, or anyone, any statement? Mr. Hunter, you have anything to say on that?
No, sir.
Okay, any comments or question, council? All right, proceeding on under the city clerk, Angel? Miss Melanie.
Melanie.
Okay.
All right.
Well, she looks like an angel with her wings behind her.
I was just going to go over the calendar with y'all. There was an event for the 9th from Fort Benning, but it's been postponed. Of course, the 12th is Easter. The DRA meeting that was scheduled for April the 16th has been canceled. The next thing would be our next scheduled work session is April the 20th, and the next scheduled council meeting is April the 21st. I know we had the Mayor's Ball Thank You Luncheon down for April the 23rd. I hadn't heard anything about that being postponed yet. And then in May, I have May the 4th as the work session, May the 5th as the council meeting coming up ahead. May the 16th through the 19th was the Alabama League of Municipalities Convention, but that has been postponed. And with that, whenever that is rescheduled, the delegate that goes to that, that'll be voting when they go to the league. They're going to also be voting on a revised constitution for that. And that went out to y'all on that. Other than that, we have a board appointment coming up in May. That'll be in the May agendas. That's for the Phenix City Housing Authority. There's one opening on there, and that person said that they would be interested in serving again if y'all would like to reappoint them. And that was everything I had, Mayor.
Let me say this before I ask the council, do they have any questions or comments? Melanie, on that luncheon, we are going to probably cancel it.
Okay.
Because, you know, we haven't, as you know, we haven't sent out any letters. I've made a few calls, but, you know, at this time, we don't need to be asking for donations for this, with this crisis going on. So for everyone else to hear, at this time, that luncheon is probably going to be canceled. However, we have looked at some other dates as far as hopefully continue to have the Mayor's Ball. Our original date is June 20th. What we've decided to do is to wait until the end of this month to see what's happened, along with what the president and our governor said as far as the 30th of this month. And maybe we'll have more clarity. But right now, the Mayor's Ball was scheduled for June 20th. We still have that in place, but we also have another date as a contingency plan, which we're looking at August. But because of the date being June, which is still a little time off, we still have that plan to go ahead and proceed, but we're not going to make a declaration until after April the 30th. And so just for you all knowledge and information on that, but that will be canceled, the luncheon, Melanie.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, any other questions or comments you all would like to ask the clerk? Anything?
I do have one. I hope everyone can hear me now. I was having an issue with volume and sound. So can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I did get a call from Ms. Toombs today, so she will not be present for the interview, city clerk. So,
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or questions from any of the council member? Okay. Proceeding on under the city manager, our monthly department reports. Council, you know, we've all started this as where for the sake of time, we would like to ask each one of you all, are there any specific question for the sake of time that you all would like to ask any of the department heads? You all would like to ask any of those, this is the time to do so, again, for the lack of time. And if we can, if there's any questions that we may want to ask as we go through the process, please do so now. So hopefully we can have, save some time also on tomorrow, although I know between now and yonder things can come up. But anyone that wants to start, and I'll start with you, Mrs. Johnson, as I've always do, starting to my right. Are you, any specific question you would like to ask any of the department heads?
First of all, I just want to know how is everyone doing? You know, from our department directors, have you had any major concerns with any of the staff? And I think that's pretty much my my concern.
I guess if no one's speaking up, I guess everything is good. Department head, did everyone hear the question?
We haven't had really any concerns with staff at this moment.
Fire
We've
department.
handled that mostly through HR.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And just one other question. On the police department, if Chief is I know he had came in on the meeting. I don't know if he has left the meeting, but board interviews. I'm just wanted to know when we conduct board interviews, just to kind of elaborate a little bit about what's happening with that process.
Is that regarding for hiring police officers?
Well, it was on the police department reports, and there are certain days that he do quote unquote board interviews. So what exactly is that?
That is part of the pre-employment hiring process. We have put that on hold with the restrictions that we currently find ourselves in. Good news is that we have seen a spike in our hiring for police. So we're still processing applications. We can get them through to a certain point, but we do have those board interviews on hold for the time being.
Okay. Just any, I mean, I did look at the report, just any hot capital items that's going on in District 2 as far as any type of development. Can anyone share with me where we are with any type of new projects?
This is Angel. We did award the TAP grant on 14th Street. That will be in District 2. It will go along 14th Street from Broad Street back up to 5th Avenue. That it came in just about $6,000 over budget, so we were proud of that. It's an 80% grant, and it is on the agenda today for y'all to ratify. Earthscapes was the low bidder, and until we can get that ratified and get contracts signed, we can't have a pre-construction meeting. So I don't have a definite date of when that construction will begin.
Okay, I did see that.
This is Steve Smith. Can y'all hear me?
Okay, you can.
Yes,
we hear you, Steve.
Yes.
They got me hooked in. They've been working feverishly to get me. I've been able to see and hear you. You couldn't hear me.
we can hear you now.
Okay. Mrs. Johnson, were you asking any other questions?
No, you may proceed to others.
Okay, Councilman Gordon.
I don't have anything.
Okay, Councilman Day. Arthur, you're on mute. Can you hear us? Councilman Day.
Hold on.
Okay. Now you're off mute.
Hold on a minute.
Do you have any questions for any of the department head? You're on mute again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just have a couple of questions. As you know, I know I've been observing the 5th Street South project, and matter of fact, it went down. But how's that project coming? How are we doing down there, Angel?
We are, I talked to the contractor and to the project inspector. With everything going on right now, we were expecting the project to be completed the end of May, but we have had some setbacks with the COVID-19. The concrete crew has been quarantined for 14 days. They thought that they have come in contact with it. So we do have a slight slowdown there, but if we can get the driveways poured, then they can go ahead and start putting the asphalt down, and that project will go much quicker after that.
Okay, I realize safety comes first. It's very important to each and everybody. On US 431, I know that project here, it looked like it finished just about. How's that coming?
I can speak from our standpoint. Gil and Chris may want to speak about the building permits at Renfro.
Going in and out, I can't hear you.
Here's some static. Okay, Arthur, you're on mute.
I'll put him on mute for just a second, Mayor. I apologize. The feedback's coming from his device. Mr. Dave, you may have to try to reposition.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. You hear Angel?
Yeah, it said she was going in and out. Okay, will you repeat that on 431 South, that project down there, please? The update.
Yes, sir. I mean, we're working. I know they've done the work on the DOT right of way. So we are waiting to hear approval from AlDOT to make sure that the work has been completed to their satisfaction. And then, I don't know, Gil, you may have a better understanding of where we are on the actual building.
Yeah,
CO.
can you hear me? We've issued a certificate of completion on the building itself. Renfro is putting their equipment in, and the alcohol license will be on our council agenda, and we would need to suspend the rules on that if possible, but everything's on schedule for their opening date.
Well, tell me, I think I remember reading about the lights. We're going to go forward with Alabama Power and putting power to the pole for the light down there. We realize the light not going to come on until AlDOT say so. Is that right?
That's correct. The lights have been powered up and they've been tested.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. There's something wrong. I cannot hear you going in and out.
Angel, can you, Arthur, is everyone sounding the same or is it just Angel?
The problem is we're getting a lot of feedback from Mr. Day for some reason. Mr. Day, you might just have to unmute whenever you get ready to talk. But mute yourself whenever somebody else is talking. Or you could try to hold your phone or reposition it because we're getting a lot of feedback.
Can he hear you, Mike?
I think he can. Let's see.
He's showing he's on mute. Arthur, did you hear Mike?
Yes, I heard everything you said.
Okay. So, Angel, you want to try to repeat it?
Yes, sir. Can everyone else hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The light has been powered up. We are waiting for AlDOT to give the approval to turn the signal on for operation. And like I say, as last I've heard from the DOT, they have to meet those thresholds. Until I know further, they're not going to let the light come on. But they did release Alabama Power to put power to the light. So it is functioning and will be in operation when AlDOT releases it.
All right. I heard everything.
All right.
Can you hear me? Can you hear
Did
me?
you hear Arthur? Arthur,
Can you
did
hear
you
me
hear
now?
me? Yeah, did
Yes,
you hear
I
me?
heard her.
I'm sorry, huh?
I heard her.
Okay.
Okay, one of the questions I need to ask, Ms. Johnson touched on that as well. I noticed we were talking about the project that we are doing for, I'm gonna say handicap accessible. There, I noticed 14th Street and Broad Street, and that contract was awarded to Earthscape. Is that just the only area they're gonna do? I know at one time, I know it's throughout the whole city. That project will be going throughout the whole city.
Mr. Day, it's two different projects. This is a specific streetscapes project that we were awarded through the MPO, but we do have other handicap accessibility projects going on throughout the city.
Okay, that has nothing to do with this particular project, is that right?
That's correct.
I didn't hear the answer.
She said
that's correct.
She said it was correct based on the statement you made.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions, Mr. Day?
1 second. Okay, hold 1 second. How are we coming on the on the project over there on what is it, over like a road or the over like a road, the bridge project. How are we coming on that?
We have closed down the road. We've closed down the road, Mr. Day, and the contractor is on site and has begun demolition of the bridge.
Arthur, you're on mute. Arthur, we can't.
Can you hear me now?
We can now. We didn't hear you earlier.
There's something wrong with this phone. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. The problem is when responding back to you.
We're getting some feedback from somewhere. Mr. Day, can you maybe try to, do you have a ceiling fan on?
Yes.
It may be, it might be picking up noise, your phone.
You sped it up. Arthur, look like you sped it up. Look like you sped up the fan.
Something wrong. It'll be my phone burn out probably. But anyway, Mel, let's go. That's all I have. We're gonna go on.
Let me make a suggestion. All the questions that you want to ask Melanie on that, let's just put it to a sidebar, and you and her talk about it from that perspective. Since we're static, okay? Are you okay with that?
I don't know what's going on with it.
Did you hear me?
You said you're gonna put it to a sidebar.
No, I was asking you to put it to a sidebar where you can ask us those questions since we're having so much technical difficulty for you hearing her. If you can just put it to a sidebar where she can talk to you, once we finish this. Is that okay? Is that okay?
That is fine. That's fine. Thank you.
All right. Now, I also would like to suggest or recommend, if it's okay with you, if you do that for each department head, because of the static we hear, and you can't hear. Is that okay?
That's fine. That's there's something wrong with the phone. I guess it's pretty hot on the back.
Oh no, we don't. It's kind of, just put it to a sidebar. That's okay.
That's fine. That's fine.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Day. Councilman Bailey.
Yeah, I just want to welcome everybody to the District 1 Oval Office here. I got just about 3 questions real quickly. Just want to ask Angel if pretty much we're staying on some sort of schedule with all the work going on in the city with the different projects. She don't have to speak about each one individually, but are any of the others being helped up like it is on 5th Avenue South?
No, sir, not at the time. We've actually got some of our contractors that are calling us saying, hey, do y'all have anything for us? Because they have been closed down at other sites. We plan on, one thing that we have noticed with getting materials, like Saddlebrook subdivision, we're ordering some concrete boxes. Those boxes are taking a little longer to be made. So we have seen some issues from that standpoint. It's basically material holdup.
So we're still working through everything. So it looks like, we'll just be on a slower schedule, but it hasn't been on the stop schedule.
Yes, sir.
Next thing is addressed to Todd. I'm just going to ask how we're going to handle the entertainment stuff that is scheduled at the amphitheaters and art park and all.
Right now, currently, everything that's canceled is through the month of April. I think council, we've actually reassigned. Brad has gone through the process of reaching out to each of the artists and has prepared a rescheduled date to, later in June and July.
All right. Now, the ones that we can reschedule would be fine. The ones we can't reschedule, the upfront money that we paid them, how does that work?
Well, we haven't experienced that yet, so hopefully that won't come up.
Okay, good deal. All right. Next thing is for Melanie. I've already talked to her about this, but Eddie will be making an announcement shortly, probably about maybe the 1st of June or so, about the city elections. So Melanie, has anybody come to you or anybody else thought anything else about the upcoming election with the council and the school board?
No, sir.
Okay. Any idea when we're going to have to make a decision on that? How far out would that have to be? No, not trying to put you on the spot. You may not know because I don't.
I wouldn't know, Mr. Bailey, and I would think that would come down from the governor's office, like it came down from her office about extending out the date for the
runoffs.
And that may be a question better for Mr. Graham. Mr. Graham, if this coronavirus keeps impacting things, how would something with the city election, would the governor come down and say something about the city elections being postponed on out, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think that is going to determine what we do, if we're able to have it on time or not. But I think all of the pre-qualifying paperwork and all that would go as scheduled. We just, may have to postpone the election depending on what the federal government and the state government dictates to us.
Okay.
Mayor, don't you usually make the announcement on the election right around the 1st of June? Right.
Well, it depends on once we're here, but it'd be sometime in June.
Right. Okay. So we're far enough out that we can work on that as it comes closer. Yes.
Yeah.
And one other question. Yeah. One other question, if I might. This would be for the police chief or either the fire chief. Are you able to keep all of the first responders safe when they answer these calls?
Right now, Mr. Bailey, we are. We have enough PPE right now, but naturally we're going through our supplies, so we're trying to keep them stocked well. But thus far, knock on some wood, and wishful thinking, we haven't experienced any problems yet. We're doing our best to help our people and make sure they're safe.
Well, I keep worrying about them having to answer these calls and all, and they don't have any idea where they're walking into, and they got no choice but to go into them. So
that's right.
It stays on my mind that we want to, first of all, keep everybody safe, but especially the ones that have to do these duties that they can't pick and choose.
That's right.
Okay, well, that answered that good. That's all my questions. Thank you.
Okay. Any others? Okay. Did we miss anything, Melanie? Anything we need to discuss? All right. So we're going to go ahead and proceed on and get into the council meeting on tomorrow.
Mayor.
The city manager, anything you want to say?
Mayor, if you would, I'd just like to piggyback on what Mr. Bailey said, and that was one of my questions. I'm glad he asked that question. That was my concern too, Mr. Bailey, and I thought about our folks out there in harm's way, and they being protected and what have you. I would worry about that as well. Thank you for asking that question. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. Anything else? Mr. Hunter, anything you want to say before we get into the agenda for tomorrow?
No, sir.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Proceeding on, we're going to go ahead and start on the for the agenda tomorrow. And again, council, if as we go through each resolution, just are there any questions that may pop up in your mind, or any question you may have? Let's also ask as many as we can today for the sake of time tomorrow. However, and I know I'm being redundant, but I do know that between now and yonder, something could come up between tonight and in the morning. But if there's anything, we'd like to go ahead and address it right now. So as we know, this is the first meeting of the month of April. We're certainly thankful for that. The meeting will start at 9 o'clock at our council chamber. However, we will follow the same process that we're doing today. It will be done this way through teleprompting. And so with that, we will call the meeting to order. And I've already mentioned it to Councilman Gordy that he would do the invocation due to the fact of Pastor Poole does not have this technology. So we appreciate that, Councilman Gordy. And then the Pledge of Allegiance will also be led by Councilman Gordy. And then also, Council, there are no presentations or proclamation. And from there, we would proceed on with the city clerk. And I will ask for the motion for the approval of the regular scheduled meeting minutes. However, we will take those separately due to the fact that Councilman Bailey was not present at the work session on the 16th. So we will take each one of those, the 16th work session. We will take a vote for it as well as the 17th council meeting, okay? And again, that's due to the fact Councilman Bailey was not there. And we will proceed on the city council. We will proceed with any unfinished business. And between now and yonder, something may come up, but that would be the time to discuss it. And after that, we will proceed on with the resolutions and under administrations. The first one under administration resolution number 2020-104 to be ratified in reference to authorizing and directing the mayor and city manager to enter into an agreement with Earthscapes Incorporation to improve the ADA and pedestrian accessibility along 14th Street between 5th Avenue and Broad Street in the amount of $328.75. This is the one that Mrs. Moore was just speaking of also, but that is the from the TAP, and we see that our portion as well as the transportation alternative program amount too. So that amount again is $425,328.75. And after the clerk read that, I will ask for a motion and a second, council. Are there any questions or comments or discussion on that?
I did not see a company location. So the company that was rewarded the bid, where are they from?
That was not in there, was it?
Perfect City.
It's right off of Wright Road.
Yeah. That's Ron and them out there, I think.
That's correct. Mr. Avery? Right off of Wright Road. Bailey Hill area.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Okay. All right. Any other questions? So, council, I will ask for a motion and a second on that, okay? Now, will be a motion to ratify.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Proceeding on administration is a resolution number 2020-105 to be ratified in reference to authorizing Alabama Power Company to provide electrical power for the newly installed traffic signal located at the intersection of US Highway 431 South and College Drive. We'll ask the clerk to read that, and that's the one we just spoke of also. But after the clerk read that, we will ask for a motion and a second, and a motion to ratify. Any comments, questions, or discussion? Again,
Mayor.
yes, sir.
Mayor, I like to go back. I don't think you heard me. I think something wrong with my phone. And I was about to say there is, we are proud that I noticed that Mr. Hunter stated that is right off Wright Road. I noticed that we are using folks that within our city community, shall I say, and that's a good thing. I'm sure they met all the requirements. Because if it didn't, we wouldn't have been using it. I noticed something else on down in these resolutions that about the insurance, but I'll wait till I get there to elaborate on that as well. Thank you, sir. That's all.
Okay, any other comments? Okay. Well, we'll proceed on the resolution on administration. Is a resolution in reference to emergency responders under the provision of the Family First Coronavirus Act, known as FFRCA. We'll ask the clerk to read that, and then after the reading of that, we'll ask the motion to happen. It's pretty self-explanatory. Are there any questions or comments? Discussion. It lays it out real good on the process. Again, this is this is really awesome, and we're grateful that we have the means to be able to do this. But there are guidelines that come along with it now. So all employees need to know that. Am I right, Mr. Hunter? Or?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mayor, I'd like to ask Mr. Hunter, does he have any issue with our employee here within the city? I'm sure they are aware of the situation, but as I read this page back here, it's have the guideline and what have you. Have you had any issue with our worker there in the city, employees there in the city, Mr. Hunter?
Not exactly just issues, but people have families. So everybody's been given the avenue to HR, and Stephanie and her team has done a good job. They're just following everything that's been put in place.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, proceeding on administration. D is a resolution in reference to authorizing the purchase of insurance from the Flower Insurance Agency through American Zurich Insurance Company. After the clerk read it, I will ask the clerk to read that resolution, and after that, council will ask for a motion and a second for approval. Any questions, comments, or discussion?
Yes, sir, Mayor. I would like for Stephen to elaborate on that. I know we on prep call and what have you. I would like for him to elaborate on that. I also realize that is a local business as well. Some while back, they was talking about why not do business with the local folks that lives here and have business in the community. We are doing that now. And then Mr. Smith could elaborate for the citizen of Phenix City.
Steve Smith, are you there? Steve?
Can you hear me?
Steve,
Yeah.
you there?
Can you all hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I was just trying to elaborate on that this morning.
Steve.
Our general insurance.
Hey, Steve. Steve, can you hear me? Steve.
Yes.
It's too much frying going on.
Yeah, it's tremendous amount.
We can hear you, but we certainly can't understand you, but we can also hear some background.
The answer is Steve and Labrita worked real hard with the company that's here. They followed the process, and they was the ones that was awarded the bid. We've always worked with people that was here. I know what was said at the State of the City, which was false information. And at the same time, whoever works the hardest to get these things, that's who we take full insurance from.
Yes, that's what I said, Mr. Hunter. I realized that happened in the past. That's why I wanted somebody to let our citizens.
No, it didn't happen in the past. We've always worked with them. They did not. The person that stood up at the State of the City and said that was telling a lie. They hadn't showed up at the city since that night, what I was saying. So we've always worked with the people in the past, because you got to remember, we had insurance with Belle Lee and that team before she ever stood up and said that was right across the street from her company. So that was false what she said that night. So we've always worked hard with this, with people for the city. So she was not telling the truth.
Yeah, I understand that, and then we understand that, but I was talking about remind our citizens of that as well. I know that was false that night when the person stood up and said that.
Yes, sir. I wanted to make sure that was correct, because that was false, and a lot of people in the city had also knew that people in the city have to work hard to get our business too. You got a percentage that you can work with on people from the city that you can, bypass and give them a little help with getting these different, jobs with the city or the bids that we take in. But if they don't do what they're supposed to do too, then someone can outbid them from somewhere else. So it keeps everybody honest.
That's true.
But let me segue with that, since now again, we all know that the city is a business. Now, the bids are put out. The bid has to meet certain specifications.
That's true.
However, if there's a bid that comes in and it's not from people within this community, we still have the fiduciary responsibility to go with the lowest, best bid that meets the specs, and they may not even be here, because one of the first thing we have to do as a council is make sure we're watching the money. And it's a business just like any other business. So we need to make sure people understand that if they're not the lowest bidder and there's someone who bids lower than them that are not in our community, we have to go with them because it's the money that we have to look at being stewards of. So we don't want anybody to try to put us in a corner or anything, but we are running this business as a business, and that's the taxpayer, which we can't take.
Thank you for that, Mayor. Thank you for that, Mr. Hunter. This is, we are aware of that. I was just trying to reiterate that for the citizen. We are aware how the situation works, how the thing works. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comment?
No, sir.
Proceeding on the E, administration resolution in reference to adopting the policy of public records request. So we will ask the clerk to read that, and after the reading of that, council back and for approval. Any comments or questions or discussion? Okay, and the last one that's on the administration now is a resolution in reference to authorizing and directing the mayor and city manager to sign a memorandum of understanding with Gerard Partners LLP for the Ladonia commercial development. We'll ask the clerk to read that, and after she reads that, council, I will ask for a motion and a second for approval. Any questions, comments, or discussion?
Melon.
I just got one quick question. It's real simple. I'm assuming we're doing this. I know they're paying for it, but this should be saving them a bunch of money and time on their project. Would that be what's going to happen?
Angel, are you there? Angel, you're on mute.
That wouldn't be for Angel.
Oh.
He said
I
time.
thought he had
to you're talking, yeah.
Yeah, just asking, you know, I know that they're going to pay for it. We're going to do the work and all on it, but and they don't have to put in, I think I saw that right, 3 lift stations or something of that nature. So it looks like we're doing this trying to, you know, help the developer, which is what I want the people of our community to know, that we try to help everybody we can legally.
Yes, sir. This is going to help out there on the Ladonia commercial project. It's going to allow our guys, and I know Steve could probably answer this too, to get some training in on this inserter valve information. But at the same time, John Spraggins and Steve they looked forward and they noticed that Mr. Dudley had some other properties that if we went ahead and acquired easements on them in the future, when the city gets ready to expand the system, we could go ahead and have those easements already, and then that would be able to remove some of our lift stations.
Right. So it's a win-win for both of us, the city and them themselves, also with the Gerard Partners.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay.
I do have just one other question pertaining to the MOU there. On number 2, it did states that the developer agrees to reimburse the city for the cost of these 2 valves. So once the valves are installed, with our understanding that they will reimburse the city, or at what point will this developer reimburse the city?
I think we've already gotten the checks for that.
Yeah, I think they will, and Steve will probably be answering that, but I think that they had planned on receiving the checks prior to us doing any installation.
Yeah, John just tweeted in that he said that we've already been paid. Yes.
That's
Yes,
correct.
sir. That's correct.
That's correct.
Good.
Any other questions?
I just wanted everybody in the community to know that we do try to help all our developers, whether they're in-town developers, out-of-town developers. Just like you said a while ago about all the bids, we don't hold anything against anybody. We want the city to grow forward, but we just want to make sure we do it correctly and do it right.
It's business, isn't it?
Right.
It's all about the business.
Right. But I appreciate us being willing to work with them. And that shows that, both sides can work together when you sit down at the table and you both put everything out in front of you. You both come to an agreement, and it's simple to do. It's not difficult. So thank Angel and everybody and John and all of them for sitting down with them to do that.
Okay.
Okay, I do have one other question, just so that I can make sure I'm just kind of understanding and visualizing what's going to happen here. So the easement with Goodwill, land fronting on Cuttrade Road, and then Cedardale, and then the last one, Hidden Creek. So they're having to get an easement to get the underground work done. Is that what I'm understanding?
No, ma'am, this was like, I
Can
guess,
you
a two-part
explain it to
deal.
me?
Yes, ma'am. So Ladonia Commercial Developer came to our utilities department and said, hey, we would like some help in getting these inserter valves installed. And our utilities department said, okay, you know, that would be great. We can get some training there. But at the same time, if we're going to help you on this project, we know that in the future, in 3 different areas, we're going to have additional easements. That's not on this property. It's on 3 other pieces of property in the city that we're going to need when we get ready to expand our system. So it's like we were going ahead and thinking or being proactive and obtaining these easements while we're doing something for helping the developer.
This negotiation. And what that is that they had to buy the parts, and our team is going to be the team that's going to work on putting those in. Am I correct in that, Angel?
Yes, sir.
Which is part of the training, right?
It helps us train, and it's part of the whole negotiation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
The easements are just for future development that we know eventually is going to happen that direction, and it'll get us ahead of the curve at that time.
That's
by
correct.
going ahead and having the easements now.
That's
correct.
That's just smart business there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Hanna, Ms. Angel.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right, any other questions or comment? Also, now in the Engineering and Public Works Department, we have a resolution in reference to accepting the lowest quote from Linesman Supply to purchase a hydraulic pruner and pole saw in an amount not to exceed $1,540. We'll ask the clerk to read that, and we'll ask for a motion and a second on that. Okay, it is still on the budget too.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any comments or questions? All right, if there's not any, proceeding on is B on the Engineering and Public Works Department. It's a resolution in reference to accepting the lowest quote from Ag Pro to purchase a John Deere Z930 Z-Track lawnmower in an amount not to exceed $8,489.99. We'll ask for a motion and a second for that approval after the clerk read the resolution. Any questions, comments, or discussion? Okay. All right, C is a resolution in reference to purchasing a 25 lamp WAN code error board from Columbus Barricade and Safety in an amount not to exceed $4,990. We'll ask for the motion in a second after the reading of the resolution. So council, are there any questions or comment or discussion right now?
I'm assuming that's just one of those boards that you can light up and put the message on it that you want to close the lane, open the lane, things like that. Would that be correct?
Similar to that, Mr. Bailey, but it's just going to be an arrow board sign that lights up. Correct. So it will be something that we can haul behind our trucks with the arrow telling people to get over.
Right. If we got the lane closed, maybe we're working the trucks, working in front, picking up debris, going across the bridge or whatever.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, may I ask you to go back to B? I just want to know with the zero turn more, we're just adding, how many do we already have? And I know there's a need because I know sometimes we just get, we get so backed up, and I hope we are fully staffed where we can maintain the maintenance in our city. So with adding this one, how many would we probably have, or just replacing one of them?
This is going to be a replacement, Ms. Johnson, and we have about 4, and then we have 2 tractors that we run. Unfortunately, with the COVID-19 going on right now, we are in a process where we are not hiring our seasonal labor at the moment. So that may be something that hinders us in the future with grass cutting, because we really depended on seasonal labor, you know, to do some of that while we are in the summer months. But we want to make sure that we protect our employees. So that's why we haven't gone forward with interviewing for those seasonal positions.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments, question in reference
Thank
to
you.
Ms. Johnson? Any more questions, Ms. Johnson, in reference to B on the Engineering and Public Works Department?
No, sir.
Okay. Council, and I know Mr. Bailey had a question or comment on C. Are there any other questions or comment on C in reference to the error board? Okay, well, we will proceed on the D on the Engineering and Public Works Department. We have a resolution in reference to accepting the lowest quote from Northern Tools to purchase an open bay AC cooler in an amount not to exceed $1,999. We will ask the clerk to read that resolution, council, and we'll ask for a motion and a second on that. Any questions, comments, or discussion? Okay. Next, E is a resolution in reference to accepting the lowest quote from Advanced Auto to purchase an AC cart in an amount not to exceed $4,690.57. We'll ask for a motion and a second for that approval after the reading of the clerk of the resolution. After the clerk reads it, are there any questions or comments or discussion?
Yeah, only quick question. Is this like would be for an automobile, like the recovery system for the air conditioning when you take the Freon out, put the Freon back in? Is that basically what this is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any others? And also the last one, F on the Engineering and Public Works Department, is a resolution in reference to accepting the lowest quote from O'Reilly's to purchase a 6,000-pound floor crane in an amount not to exceed $9,708.99. Council will ask for a motion and a second for the approval after that, after the reading of the clerk. Are there any questions or comments or discussion? Okay, if there's not any, we will proceed. Ordinance. We do have a first reading. It is an ordinance to amend the Code of Ordinance of the City of Phenix City, Alabama, Chapter 22, Election Section 22-1A1, Districts of the City, Voting Places, District 1, Change Voting Place. We will ask for the first reading of that, and I trust you all read that information. And after the first reading, we'll ask for a motion to place that ordinance on first reading. Any questions or comment? Discussion.
I just wanted to say, Mayor, if I could, the voting place is changing from the Roy Martin Center on Airport Road to the Martin Idle Hour Park Community Center on Moonlight Drive. And some people may refer to that as the Max E. Wilkes Fellowship Hall. But the Martin Idle Hour Park Community Center is the official name for that building.
Okay. Any questions or comment from the council, anyone?
Yeah, I was just wondering, when we do that, or we put out the announcements for the election, can we kind of maybe put that in a commonly called the Max Wilkes Building or something of that nature, where the people in District 1 won't be confused? Because
Yes.
both of them have got Martin in the name. The reason I'm saying that. The
Yes.
Roy Martin Center and the Martin Idle Hour Center both have Martin in it. So some of the people could get confused. That's why I was wondering if we possibly could do it at that time.
We can, and I plan on publishing, you know, like a public notice or like an ad in the paper at least 2 or 3 weeks or leading up to the election and all, plus posting it at the old place of voting, you know, and at the new one. And you know, trying to, and if we can think of anything else, we just want to make sure that the public knows that. We will put it out front on our website when we get the information up for the election going out on there. So everybody will know where to go to get any information on the election.
All right, thank you, because I know that, I guess for probably, 25 or 30 years, they've been going to the other place, and I know automatically, most people are just instinctively going to pull in there. So by being on the doors of it saying it's been moved, and they'll recognize it. I'm just trying to cut back on some confusion and all. I don't want anybody that doesn't vote because they get frustrated and didn't realize it's a change or know where to go. I want everybody to cast a vote that wants to cast a vote. Yeah.
And then this is also for the municipal election that's in August.
Correct.
So the county, state, national, that I don't think that's going to affect it.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, then council, we have some board appointments. Downtown Redevelopment Authority, we do have one opening. We previously tabled it. The last time we tabled it was due to the fact that we did decide to do interviews based on the opportunities that our city and community have. So we will be doing interviews with that. As we heard, we only have 2 persons instead of 3. Is that right, Mrs. Lee? Okay, I see you shaking your head, but you're on mute.
Oh, yeah, I turned on my microphone. Okay. Yes, sir.
All right. So
I'm gonna ask you a question. How are we gonna do that? It says teleconference. I've never done one, so again, I'm gonna show my ignorance.
Oh, and typically, y'all close the work session before y'all go into interviews, and it's just mayor and council and the interviewee, and it's one interviewee at a time. We're having to work around that. So probably what we're going to need to do, and they're not scheduled to begin until about 5. So I feel like we're probably going to be out of this before 5. So we'll probably have to go back into 1 just so I can get them on the phone and, and y'all can talk with them that way. Either that or y'all, I don't know if with this coronavirus, if y'all, if another option would be for y'all to table it again. That might be a question that Mr. Graham may, I don't know what would be best. I don't know if it would be best to try the interviews like that where you, or if it might be best just to table, because these boards are not going to meet while this coronavirus is going on.
Well, how would we vote? I think we could conduct the interviews, but I don't know how we would vote.
We're just, what we would do, this is just a recommendation now. It's probably crazy and stupid, but I would suggest or recommend that each council would call the clerk instead of, because, we normally do it by seal voting. So I think, now I'm just suggesting. Now, I'm not saying this is the way to do it, but now if somebody can come up with something else, certainly won't hurt my feelings or anything, but I would just, since we do a seal vote, we can either do that and drop it off to her or either call her. Or
well, if we're trying to do it by the agenda tomorrow, I guess I'm saying if we're going to vote, we got to vote and get it done tonight to be ready to appoint them for tomorrow. So I just don't know if there's a good way to handle that, or what's the best way to handle it from a voting standpoint.
Well, I think just to call her and give her the vote, and she would reach back out to us and let us know who was up or down, and then from that standpoint, council would just have to make a nomination motion, and the other one second, I guess. I don't know. I'm just thinking as we're talking.
Melanie, what's your opinion?
Honestly, I would probably reschedule the interviews for when this coronavirus is over. I mean, that's just me personally, because then that way y'all are all together. Y'all are meeting with them regularly like you normally do. Because normally I'm not involved in that. It's just mayor and council and the attendee, the interviewee.
I agree with that. As long as everybody else is in agreement with that.
Yeah, I'm fine. Again, my thought was, we've tabled it 4 times, but with what's going on, you're right. People would understand that or should understand it. So you're probably right.
All right.
Yeah.
Would that also
fine with that?
That would possibly give Ms. Toombs a chance to be interviewed at that time, or is she totally out of the picture?
Right.
That's fine. I was just, suggestion.
I was thinking maybe Ms. Toombs just couldn't make the meeting this evening on the phone, so she would be back in the picture of having 3 choices possible if we reschedule this.
That's what I would think.
No, that'd be fine. Again, I was just, looking at how many times we've tabled it, but we can articulate it and people will understand it or should understand it. But if not, everyone knows what's happening, so it should be able to understand that.
A lot of forgiveness right now going on everywhere, so I think everybody will forgive us for that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Gordon. Appreciate it, Mel.
Let me just also add, I did say that Ms. Toombs did reach out to me. She was looking for the city clerk's number, but she said the time is not right for her, so I doubt that she is still at this point. So we're going to interview.
Hit that mute button, Arthur.
Something wrong with this one.
Did you hear me, Mayor?
Yeah, we heard you, Ms. Johnson. Okay, are we all clear now? Can we all hear?
I can.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll do that. We'll table that also.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you all. Also on the board appointments, we have Phenix City Board of Education 2 opening. Misha Patrick and Fran Ellis, and according to our clerk, those 2 decided that they will continue to serve. And I think we all as a council agreed so with that due to the fact that the election will be coming up in right now, August. So we all agreed upon that. Am I correct, council?
I'm in agreement.
So, what about the other?
That is correct.
Okay. Mr. Gordon? Griff?
Yep, I'm good.
Okay, Arthur?
Arthur might be frozen. His finger hadn't moved for about 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, anyway, what we would do is someone has to make the nomination and someone, would second. Okay. So we need to decide who's going to nominate Misha Patrick.
I can do that.
Okay. Mr. Gordon?
I will. Okay.
So, all right. So you're going to do Ms. Ellis, Ms. Johnson?
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Okay. And then we'll we'll close it out. We'll do it one at a time. Okay. Is that okay? Or should we do them twice, both at the same time?
I do them one
Just
at a
do them
time.
one at a time. Exactly. Okay. So I'll open it and close it, and then we'll do them separately. And also the next one is the Phenix City Planning Commission, one opening for Sean. So again, that's one that's going to be communicated with from the administration at this time. So we may just table that until the next time. Council? Y'all okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll table it at that time. All right, and I'll articulate it on tomorrow. All right, all minds clear on that?
Yes.
I just heard one person.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Proceeding on, itemized statement of expense on the building department, and we'll take these separately. We have an expense under Richard M. Carlson, Jr., in the amount of $211.03. I will ask for a motion and a second for the approval of that expense from Mr. Carlson. Okay.
Okay.
And then also under Ray Rogers under the building department in the amount of $197.80. We'll ask for a motion and a second for the approval of that expense.
Okay.
Okay. Proceeding on the license application, we have a first reading. It's an application for an on-premise beer license, an on-premise wine license, on-premise whiskey and wine license, billiard, pool license, dancing, live band license, dancing, jukebox license, submitted by Adrian M. Haynes for Haynes Entertainment LLC, doing business as Ace on 80 Bar and Grill, located at 3928 Highway 80, Suite A and B of Phenix City, Alabama. We'll ask the clerk to read the first reading, and after that, council, I will ask for a motion to place on first reading. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Okay, Mayor, let me ask,
Mm-hmm.
just in case I get any questions, I can be clear on that. Haynes Entertainment, doing business as Ace on 80. Where is that?
That's going to be out in Ladonia in the shopping center right next to Carden Drive. It's actually a new owner that has taken over, and I think it's Hustler's Pub used to be there. They closed that business, and this is a new business. They've expanded a little bit, building apartments still, I think, looking at their final inspections, but that's where it's at. It's out Highway 80 in Ladonia, and it's replacing an existing business already that was there.
Okay. Can you just pinpoint it? Okay, is it past Ladonia?
Yes, it's past Ladonia. It's past Woodland Drive, and the next drive you come to before you get to the Winn-Dixie, there's a shopping center right across from the Mormon church out there. That shopping center on your right heading west is where it's at.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Also on the license application is an application for an on-premise beer license and on-premise wine license, off-premise beer license and off-premise wine license submitted by Robert Renfro from Renfro's Incorporation, doing business as Renfro's Market, Phoenix City, located at 3482 Crosswind Roads, Phoenix City, Alabama. We'll ask council that for a motion to suspend the rules. We'll take that action on that. And then we will come back and after the first reading, ask for a motion to approve. Okay?
Okay.
Motion to suspend the rules and then a motion to approve. Two separate.
And remember, Mayor, those have to be unanimous. The
Yes.
motion to suspend
The
the rules.
suspend rule has to be unanimous, yes.
And just to make sure, everybody understands, the bar that we're going to go on first reading, that one can't open until after this coronavirus situation is passed, but the grocery store is a little different. They will be able to open, and that should be another food source that we want to get open in our community as quick as possible. Us approving this license or suspending the rules will allow them to go ahead and make the purchases of their inventory to get it stocked in there, so they'll be able to move forward quicker and get that grocery store online as quick as possible. Hopefully help alleviate some of the other pressures on the other grocery stores in the area.
Mm-hmm. That'll be good.
Yeah, with all this COVID-19, others has moved the dates back too, but we'll get to the hay is in the barn right now, so we're closer there than we were yesterday, and we have to believe that. Okay, so any other questions or comments on that? At that time, Jimmy, you don't have anything?
No, sir.
And we'll give the city manager an opportunity to address some things. And tomorrow, again, at 9 o'clock, so I would like to advise or recommend or suggest that we do try to get on this earlier, but technical difficulties can happen. And again, I think for the first time, we did an outstanding job. I'm just so thankful that we have the capacity and the ability to be able to do this, to carry on the meetings. I think it just speaks volume for our city, community, for the leadership of our department heads and everyone else. And because I just do believe there are some cities and organizations that probably can't do this. So we have a lot to be thankful of. Are there anything anyone would like to say or add or take away? Council?
Yeah, I just want to thank the IT department for all that they've done to help me with this, because I know nothing about doing things like this, and Mike was a big help to me getting this thing set up and telling me what to do, and I had to make a couple phone calls to him and Melanie both, so I just want to tell them thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Daly.
Thank you. Mike, let me ask you this. Will you send out a new email for this, or will we use the one from today?
You'll get another email for the council meeting tomorrow.
In the morning. Okay. We all hear that, so.
Now,
Go ahead, Ms. Johnson.
no, I was just gonna ask, so tomorrow, Mayor, will you be in the office, and will CTV Beam be, how would that be displayed for the citizens, or, program? Will they still come?
I don't know. I have not talked to anyone there. I'm not sure, of course, again, with all this technology and all these, I'm not that savvy with it. I'm not sure. I have no idea. I don't know whether they can chime in. I'm just not sure. Mike?
Yes, sir. The citizens, they can go to our website at phoenixcityal.us/events. And if they go to on the calendar, if they click on city council meeting, they'll actually have a link to join the Zoom meeting.
Okay. Mr. Hunter, were you about to say something?
I was telling you that Mike's got to have all that in place. We discussed that this past week.
Okay.
Past few days. That's what he's been working on to make sure everybody can view. But I guess, was you asking where's the mayor's location was going to be, Ms. Johnson?
Yes, I assume that he would probably be there, and CTV Beam will probably, I don't know, for future programming, how it runs about 2 or 3 times before the next meeting and such. So I didn't know whether or not it'll be programmed for future viewing for our citizens in the future. I mean, I do see the link, and I understand that part of it, but I just wanted to know, had we kind of mapped out how we would have it viewed in the future.
Mike, would it be the same way as this, but would it be a live streaming? Is that kind of similar to what it is?
So the council meeting tomorrow, it'll be just like the work session today. They can go to the website and look on the calendar and click on city council meeting, and they can view the meeting on Zoom. After the meeting is over, we will post it on YouTube, where they can watch it on YouTube for anybody that missed the live meeting.
That's from the city. That's from the city's perspective, right?
Yes, sir.
And not CTV Beams. Unless they, I guess, I don't know whether they could put it on YouTube or not. I'm not sure. So I'm staying in my lane.
That's something that we would normally do. We would put it on our YouTube account. I wouldn't think that CTV Beam would be involved unless Mr. Hunter.
No, sir. You would do it the regular way that you was going to put it together.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That answer your question, Mrs. Johnson? But
It does, but it also poses, we don't know how long this this method of communicating and having our meetings live stream will happen. So I think it's something that we probably need to communicate and to see how we can incorporate them to bring it to our viewers in the future. I mean, we'll probably do this a few times, and then again, it's just uncertain how long it's going to happen.
Let me say this, Ms. Johnson. Mike is going to go back and look at this whole thing that we just did now. This is being recorded. So at any time, he can give them the recording of it, of everything that we're doing right
now. Okay.
Am I correct, Mike?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
That's the way this program works. That's what makes it so unique and good, because we have everything already set so they can do that. And they usually run the programs, 2 or 3 different times in between council meetings, because you can catch it a lot. They do a good job. Yes, they do that quite a bit.
Okay.
Now I've got a question.
Thank you.
Are we gonna wear coats and ties? You gonna wear your city shirt with your emblems, or what?
I was just gonna come like I am today since.
Fine with me too. That's what I didn't know. Just want to make sure we do, everybody's
Yeah.
comfortable, or
Yes.
we all wear the shirts, whatever everybody wants to do, doesn't matter to me, but I'd prefer not to have to wear that coat and tie if we hadn't got to.
All right.
Well,
That's
it
a
is
preference.
business. Yeah.
Any other comments or questions?
You ready for me now?
Anything else?
No, are you
Mr.
ready for my turn?
Mr. Hunter? Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna be real, probably blunt with you all. We need to realize we are not under normal circumstances. That's a problem. Too many people not realizing that we are not normal. So everything is slowing down in one direction or another. Even the companies that we deal with in the business we do every day. So no one shouldn't expect for it to be normal, because we're in a difficult situation and people are not taking things serious, especially when you're looking at the news, and the next 2 weeks are going to be vital to people changing their behavior. We're headed probably, Mayor, to a curfew. They're doing it in Smith Station and Eufaula at this particular time, breaking up parties. People are congregating together and they are not listening. We even have someone that's being deployed from here. That's one of the questions you all asked earlier. We have a lot of people that serve in the National Guard, and they, for some different people are Air Force Reserves, Army Reserves, Navy Reserves. And these people stand a chance of being deployed to a lot of places where a lot of people didn't listen, and they're going to be filling up body bags. That's going to be their job. And for anybody that's around here that's not taking things serious, that's a serious problem. And so we have to look at that for our workers and everything else. IT, like I said, they're doing a good job. A lot of coming, and Mike is ahead of the curve on what he's doing as far as taking care of us to be able to communicate with each other. At the same time, we was way ahead of the curve also in HR to take care of the different families that we get. We have 400 plus people between full-time and part-time personnel here. Hopefully this thing will be over with soon, because in some of our departments, some people have been cleaning and doing a whole lot of jobs to, they're running out of certain things to do in those departments. So I have to take a look at what we're gonna do there with part-time workers and all. So this thing is a little more, this situation is a little more serious than I think a lot of people are looking at. It's not finna disappear anytime soon, and as you look and especially when people keep explaining, and the main people, the president and his staff, keep explaining what we have to look forward to. We can play and act like it's going to disappear, but even the numbers here are growing, and they're growing a lot. It's a lot of cases that you all don't know about. It's some things that the fire chief can't mention because of confidentiality on the calls that they go on, and the people and the personnel. It's here.
No, she doesn't.
It's right here amongst us. And we need to understand that. And it just takes one wave of infections in the wrong area, whereas people on this city property, they're not going to be so nice. They're going to say, well, why didn't you make the people behave right? Why didn't you get them off the golf course? Why didn't you get them out of the places they shouldn't be? That's your job, to make those decisions. And that's what we've had to do here. And they've been some tough decisions at times, but at the same time, so many people don't respect what's going on. Some people flat out don't believe it. So there's nothing you can do about that. But as a city, we have a big responsibility. And it is going to affect, and it already have, like I say, because confidentiality, we can't say things, but people know who their co-workers are and when somebody disappeared. People have had to go up under, we got to be more careful. I'm just going to put it that way. I'm not going to talk too much more on it.
Right.
We need to be more serious about our behavior and the people around us and the people that's coming to and from this city and around this city, because the police hands are full now and a lot of people are in danger, but people here are sick too. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Well, it is real.
Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to ask one other thing, and it gonna put me in a position where I probably need to move my settings. So based on what you can see, Mike, and I know you all got the bird background, is that something you can do for everyone, or do I need to change seating tomorrow, or what? I don't know if you can see me as well as I can see you.
As far as I know, the background, that is something that can only be done if you're on a Windows PC. I don't think you can do it with the mobile app, but I'll look into it.
Okay.
I just want to reiterate on what Mr. Wallace said. I just want to comment on what Mr. Wallace said. We got to watch out for all the city employees, watch out for our families, ourselves, and everybody in this community. So even if people don't believe it's real, we know it's real, and we got to watch out for them.
It is real. I can tell you that. I've some of the conference calls that I'm on with corporate, it's serious business, and we don't need to take it lightly. So, and we're doing that. That's why, and right here, this example, we're doing it. Of course, the more we do it, the better we will get. But I can tell you, it's serious business. And, you know, this whole weekend and past 2 weeks, I've been getting a lot of calls. There's a lot of convoluting things, particularly with the governor putting what they did. I had people it's 5 o'clock. I know it started at 5 on Friday that you're not supposed to come out except for certain situations, which is a list of things that they put out that you could be out on. But, you know, we all have to take responsibility for this as far as making sure it's enforced. But I do know that Smith Station did a curfew, and I know talking to Skip, he's been adamant about doing one based on, you know, what's taking place over there, which is kind of confidential. But as Mr. Hunter said, it's here, it's serious, and we need to not take it lightly, and we need to make sure we communicate that as much as possible. And I hope people see that this thing is real, and we don't know how long it's going to last.
Can I say something else, Mayor?
No one.
Mayor, can I say something else?
Yes, sir.
If, you know, in the situation we in here, as far as governing the city and trying to make the right calls, and the police and fire have to go through, and these directors, especially Parks and Rec, what they having to go through now, you know, even I talked to Mr. Graham over the weekend also about a few things, you know, because I try to discuss things with them before we make certain moves. It is, you know, I think people need to be scared. They really do. It's some numbers that EMA is probably just going to have to release and let people know to have a full understanding of what's going on here and what's potentially in our county and city. Well, not potentially, but what's here and how bad it is, because the numbers are frightening when you take a look at we give these perfect scenarios to where if people behavior would adhere to those particular instructions. When they don't adhere to those instructions, they let you know what potentially can happen, the wave that can go through this community. And we don't want that. So if everybody in the world has to get mad with me and whatever, dislike me, that's fine with me. I'm fine with that, just like they're doing in Columbus and in other areas where you can't follow. But when you start trading a dollar for a life, that's a problem. That's a big problem. There's no money that's more valuable than any citizen life in this city. And if people don't feel that way, that's a problem also. Thank you.
Can I ask one thing, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Are we scheduled to ever get a COVID-19 test area in our city that people, if they think they have this, like you have in some of the hot spots? Because I think that's part of the problem is the numbers are not all being turned out, and it gives people a sense of false security where there really is no sense of false security. We shouldn't have that. We should all be worried that it's on your doorstep right now, knocking on the door to come in. And I'm just wondering if this governor or anybody, I know to begin with, it was going to the hot spots when y'all met with Chris Black here and all up there. But has it ever been turned out that each city or each county might get a spot for people to be tested? Do you know?
Ray was in on that.
With this, there was some discussion. Go ahead, Mr. Arnold.
Ray was in on that with Bob and Chris. They've been meeting with the EMA director.
Yes, we've been in close contact with EMA, and we've addressed that question a couple of times. Right now, everybody that we have had testing are either being referred to Opelika, Auburn, or there's one in Eufaula as well as you probably understand that there's a good number of people who have private physicians in Columbus that they go to on a regular basis. Those are the referrals that are being made to Columbus. So to answer your question, you know, when you got Russell County showing only 10 on the map, Lee County showing 100 plus, those are being reported in different locations. So some of those are not being reported in Russell County that we know are positive. The key is, just like you said, testing is going to be the big thing, and where you're taking those tests sometimes don't translate back to your home jurisdiction. So to your point, to Chief Hunter's point, Russell County does have more than 10 cases. Just because they're not being reported on the website just means they're being tracked in other locations. We're right between two hot spots with Lee County and Doherty County, Georgia, Albany, Georgia. So make no mistake, just looking at those and saying, well, Russell County has a low number, that's just because that's not what we know is already here. Those are just the official counts that we have. And because of the way our healthcare system is set up between East Alabama, Piedmont, a lot of those cases are being reported there. So that's one thing that everybody needs to keep in mind, that Russell County is not having a major test site. Therefore, you're not going to see a lot of results in Russell County, but they are being reported throughout the other areas.
But we also talked to Representative Blackshear about this, also trying to get one here, Mr. Bailey, trying to work on that, and Bob, and so far they hadn't done it.
Yeah, they're monitoring the situation closely, and that may change in the next week or so, because as Hunter alluded to, we expect this to get worse before it gets better. And make no mistake about it, before this thing is over, everyone that's listening to this will have known someone who has contracted it and or have lost a loved one because of it. So it does need to be taken seriously. The only thing that I think will change our community's behavior is when somebody starts posting on social media that they've lost a loved one. Maybe somebody will start listening, because they're not listening to what's being said by the government officials at this point.
And let me say this too. We would be surprised the number of people who's been trying to come from Albany, Georgia, up here to the hospital. And there's been some deferment plan on that. But so it's real, it's here, and we need to be very cautious and adhere to what's been put out there. Because
we can't be that close to Columbus and have, almost 250,000 people in this area and it not be real in this area.
Well, I tell you, there's been some pushback on, people coming from down Southwest Georgia.
I'm ready to push back too. I don't want it knocking on my door any louder than it's knocking already.
Rightfully so. So I will tell you all that. So, any other comment?
Just tell Chief Smith and Chief Kennedy to keep all our people safe, and the utilities people keep all them safe. Don't put any of them in harm's way. And I know you wouldn't do that automatically, but reassure them that, they're in our prayers and that we appreciate what they do. But look at here, they didn't sign on for this. They signed on to do other things they knew existed. They didn't know this existed.
Believe it or not, they actually did, but we appreciate it.
Kind of part of it.
They did sign on it.
Let me show them our philosophy. Mr. Bailey, we signed on for it because we run to things that other people run away from.
That's what I know, but you didn't know this COVID-19 existed back when they signed on.
It's a thing we go by. Always expect the unexpected. That's drilled into it. But I see where you're coming from. You don't know. The ghost is there. That's what we're dealing with now.
Hey.
They can see a fire. They can see a bad man with a gun, but you can't see this.
It's kind of like any other communicable disease we can't see either. So it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
just got to train and be prepared.
Thank all of them.
Oh, we all have faith, and because we do all have faith, we do take an oath. Whether we agree or not, and particularly when you're in a leadership position. So,
well, understand we're doing
because of our faith, we do take an oath about other people. So,
Well, just to put your mind at ease, we do have enough PPE right now, and we've got more PPE on the way. We're, again, coordinate with EMA and with the hospitals and with the sheriff. We're working very closely. So right now we have the disinfectants, we have the sanitizers, we have the limited amount of PPE and more PPE on the way. Certainly, we're doing everything we can to maintain that social distance. You'll see a lot more phone calls, reports, those kinds of things. We're working closely with trying to get those closed up. But you know, it is to your point. We did sign up for it, but we've got the protection and the training to handle it, and we're going to move forward and make sure it happens and take care of our people as well.
And the main thing is for our employees to be educated when they are off duty. When they leave here, they need to be smart and do the right thing.
Exactly. For all of us, we need to be doing that.
Yeah,
Yes, we do.
Okay. Anything else?
that's it.
Well, all minds are clear, so we're going to say this is adjourned, and by the grace of God, we'll join in tomorrow before 9, and may God continue to bless all of us and bless Phenix City and these United States of America. Thank you all. All right.
Thank you.